Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Gosh, who would have ever thought I'd review this on this channel? It once again stars the entire cast that we've known from the previous two movies. I'm not even going to get into it because you kind of know the drill, who's in this movie by now. And just like with Fellowship and Two Towers, this is going to be spoilers throughout the entire review of Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. So if you have not seen this film or the entire trilogy, please watch them. They are special films, and you really should, for me anyway. So, the former Fellowship of the Ring prepares for the final battle, while Frodo and Sam approach Gollum, Mount Doom, to destroy the One Ring. They follow Gollum, unaware of the path he is going, leading them to. Honestly, yeah, I'm like this all the time when I make these videos, but I think with Return of the King, it's a good reason to, because this movie is so good. Like, at the Academy Awards, when it was nominated for every single nomination it was nominated for 11 Oscar nominations. It won everything, including Best Picture. Like, when everyone thinks of the Oscars, they always think of Lord of the Rings Return of the King, because it is this rare for a big budget film like this to get nominated for everything and win, including Best Picture. It is insane. And I've always debated for a while that Fellowship of the Ring or Return of the King is my favourite, because I think Fellowship of the Ring has an incredible beginning with all the characters, and then Return of the King, of course, is just an incredible combination with all the characters and conclusion. And I love Two Towers as equally, all three, even though it's my least favourite in the trilogy. But I'm just going to make it clear, Return of the King is my favourite film in the trilogy, like, without a doubt. So, Lord of the Rings Return of the King starts off with yet another flashback. Lord of the Rings trilogy is full of flashbacks, but they all work extremely well. We actually see Gollum as an actual human being. Like, you start to have a sympathy for him, and you completely understand where he's coming from with the ring. And just, like, as you see the flashback scene go along, it really does show you that Gollum is Gollum. And then we do, of course, cut to where we've left off from Two Towers, where all the characters are still separated from one another, but Merry and Pippin do officially find Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn, and of course White Gandalf. I'm just going to call him Gandalf for now. You kind of know the drill with Gandalf throughout this entire trilogy. So you can sort of tell that the Fellowship of the Ring is somewhat coming to reunite, at least until the very end of Return of the King. Every single character in this film is incredible. Like, every character really shines. I actually love how they develop Pippin into a more growth character. Pippin, throughout this entire trilogy is always full of questions, but in Return of the King, he really starts to mature a lot. Like, every character pretty much does. Like, and I also love how we still have Frodo and Sam, and of course Gollum, all together in that one scene. And that scene, oh my gosh, whenever Sam and Gollum somewhat don't get along with each other, Frodo completely abandons Sam. Like, and just Sean Astin is so good as this character. Like, Like, I have no idea how they managed to make all the characters even better throughout this entire trilogy of Lord of the Rings. Like, J.R.R. Tolkien really wrote those books extremely well. Not that I wrote books, but as I'm looking at this film trilogy, I can really tell that they were popular, and I can truly understand for that reason alone. But as I was saying earlier, Sean Astin's character, Sam, is constantly just heartbroken and crying that Frodo is just leaving him. But then, of course, Sam, of course, still being heartbroken and eventually does not give up, still cares for Frodo. And then you have this great scene with him going against this spider, and you do see Frodo wrapped up in this sort of spider web. Like, that scene is extremely one of the most edge must see scenes. I find that a very underrated scene in this film and the trilogy itself. Like, a lot of characters really shine in this movie, particularly Sam. Like, he is so heartfelt in this entire trilogy, particularly with Return of the King anyway. And we'll get back to him a little later on in the film. And I love that how, as I said, Leah Pippin, played by Billy Boyd, grows throughout the entire trilogy, particularly with Return of the King, and start to have a connection with Gandalf. Gandalf is one of my favourite characters, particularly in Fellowship of the Ring. For him, Return of the King, he's fantastic as usual. And I do love the moment where Umya, I can't pronounce the character's name properly, who sort of had a love interest to Aragorn. You know, I love that she stabs the sword through Sauron, if that's how you pronounce the villain's name. I'm not very good with pronouncing stuff, but that scene is so good. Like it's one of those things that it doesn't show that she's just beautiful to look at, but she can be a badass as well. And of course, the number one thing this film is called Return of the King, number one reason why this film is so extremely extraordinary, Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn. Wow. Aragorn pretty much steals the entire film. Like, you have this incredible scene where he sees all the ghosts, he's charging with the ghosts, and of course grows throughout the movie, and so do Legolas and Gimli, who I originally called Treebeard, but my pronunciation for Gimli is a bit better anyway, but don't judge me, please. But then, of course, you do have this insane third act where everyone is just all lining up, like, and this inspired Avengers Endgame. Like, Avengers Endgame, when that film came out, it was considered Return of the King for comic book movies. Like, that film's amazing. Like, it took so much inspiration from Return of the King in some way, particularly the Avengers Assemble scene in Endgame. Going back to Return of the King, you have Aragorn giving out his speech, then you have all the bad guys just up there, the whole crew is there, and then after the big speech, Aragorn just goes for Frodo and just charges off, and then Merry and Pippin charge off after him, and everyone else is just charging off to having this big battle. And then, of course, going back to Frodo and Sam, you see that Frodo, after being captured by the spider, being wrapped out, you know, of course, apologizing to Sam for what has been happening throughout the movie. Sam says, "I can't do it for you, but I can carry you." Like, honestly, this is an Oscar-worthy performance by Sean Astin. Like, as I said, like, the characters just get better and better as the trilogy goes along. And then you do, of course, lead to that scene when the Frodo is starting to use the ring, and of course Gollum does show up. Frodo goes invisible, and then Gollum has a fight with him, bites his finger off, and then Gollum just falls to his death with the ring. Like, Elijah Wood and Sean Astin are so good together, and so is, Andy Serkis. I mean, yes, in Two Towers, Gollum shines, but when you see that opening scene with him, his flashback, his origin, he is fully developed, Gollum. And then, of course, that ring gets destroyed, and all the bad guys are just gone. That inspired in Avengers Endgame, I Am Iron Man, where the bad guys are dusting off. Like, that film pulls so much. I know I'm comparing, but honestly, I don't know what's wrong with me, but it is so rare for a film to be this extremely good these days. I mean, yes, there's a lot of other films I like, but Return of the King, like, I love a lot of movies anyway. Return of the King, it just felt like an event. Yeah, I of course didn't see it in the cinema because I was too young, but everyone was just clearly hyping this movie up because it is just simply the combination between maybe considered the greatest trilogy of all time. Then, of course, later on, you do have the Fellowship of the Ring reunite. You see Frodo in the bed. Everyone is just coming back in. Pippin and Merry are delighted to see him. So are all the characters. Gimli, Gandalf, Legolas, Aragorn, and of course, Sam, who cares for him the most. And then you do have this crown scene where Aragorn gets crowned the king. Like, that scene just put me in awe. Like, I cannot think of any other character that can be a king but Aragorn. Aragorn is simply one of the best film characters I've ever seen. I know I've said this all the time throughout my reviews in the trilogy, but he is my favourite character. And this is the film where he clearly shines the most. And I love how the four hobbits and everybody is just bowing to Aragorn. And then often what everyone sort of complains a little bit is that there are too many endings, including the Aragorn ending. Like, there's a lot of times where you think this movie has just ended, but nope, it actually still carries on. There are so many endings, but it's good for a reason. Every character has to have an ending, particularly the hobbits. I love how all four of the hobbits, Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin, all reunite together in the bar. It's not like, you do have near the beginning of the film where Merry and Pippin are dancing, but these four hobbits have grown up now. They are simply having their final moment together. And of course, Sam gets married. And then you do see the book, which has, Bilbo, There and There Will Be Back, which is, of course, the Hobbit story. And then, of course, Frodo Baggins, The Lord of the Rings. And so he passes the book on to Sam. And so you have this boat, Gandalf is there, and Frodo is just hugging the other three hobbits and just goes off to set. And then we see Sam with his family and with the Hobbit door closing, and that concludes the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like, honestly, guys, Lord of the Rings Return of the King is one of the best films I've ever seen, period. Like, I probably would tie the trilogy anyway, saying that Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of the best things I've ever seen put to film. Overall, guys, Lord of the Rings Return of the King, as I said with the other two movies, Not one single thing I dislike. Not one. This is a pitch perfect movie. All three films in the Lord of the Rings trilogy are. For me, Return of the King's my favourite, then Fellowship of the Ring, then Two Towers. All three masterpieces in every single way possible. So overall, guys, Lord of the Rings Return of the King, all the characters are amazing, particularly Frodo. Sam is a highlight, and of course the character who stands out the most, Aragorn. And of course I love all the other characters, you know, Gollum, Merry, Pippin, Legolas. Hugo Weaving is great in this as well, and Gimli. Overall, guys, if I honestly had a higher grade than an A+, I could think of many higher grades for Return of the King, but I'm just going to be professional here. Absolutely, I'm giving Lord of the Rings Return of the King an A+. Well, I did it. I reviewed the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So guys, you are probably going to question me right now. Am I going to review the Hobbit trilogy? Maybe another time. I think people are a bit too harsh on those movies. I'll maybe review them in the near future sometime. And of course the extended editions, because I unfortunately have not reviewed or seen the extended editions. Don't worry, I will in the near future. Everyone says it's the definitive way to watch Lord of the Rings. I've been watching all the movies in this. And so there you go. Definitely something to add on my bucket list. The extended editions, for sure. But there you go, guys. That is my review on Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Comment down below. Let me know below what you guys think of Lord of the Rings Return of the King in regards to third installments in general, because it is so rare to have the third installment as the best in the trilogy, or a third installment this good. Let me know below in the comments, and let's have a great discussion down there. As far as movie reviews go, guys, I don't know what's going to be next, but I'll not say what it is, just so I can keep it random from now on, you know, and just pick whatever I like, you know, because I think that's just the beauty nature anyway. Plus, there's a few new releases I've missed out on, and as far as classic movie reviews go, I'll figure them out at some point. But yeah, guys, I can't believe I reviewed the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That is just insane. Like, I love these movies, and I hope you do as well. I know Lord of the Rings isn't for everyone, I know, but trust me, guys, this trilogy is special, and I think everyone should watch this anyway. So, if you're new to my channel, I'm a movie reviewer who likes to review movies, especially the classic movies, because they're my favourite types to do. And of course, new releases, I do those as well. And if you're new to my channel, once again, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, notify that bell before you leave. All of my social media links are in the description below. But if you are a returner of this YouTube channel, welcome back, and hope you're enjoying my content so far. And as always, until my next video, I shall see you then, and peace for Frodo.